Hi. One of the things I've been wanting to get going for a long time is to run the TrainController on a Raspberry Pi. But the TrainController is a Windows type program, so Raspberry Pi doesn't support Windows. It's a Linux-based program. You can install JMRI, has a Windows version and a Linux version, and iTrain also has a Linux version and Windows version, but not Rail-Linco's TrainController. So, but what you can see here is I have a Raspberry Pi 4 and I'm running on the Raspberry Pi, so it's an ARM Cortex A72 chip. And there is a version of Windows for ARM. So I got that Windows for ARM installed, but then what happens is when you start connecting in hardware, let me see, I'll get down to here. You see here I plug in my local buffer USB, but the driver doesn't install, so it doesn't recognize it. It won't show up in COM ports. So I've tried using my IoTT stick, which is a Stack 5. This type of board here, this little device here, and I have that with a LocoNet interface, but that didn't work. That also didn't work. It doesn't find the drivers. But what it does find is the Bluetooth devices. So here, if I go to show Bluetooth devices, here, this is a LocoBridge. So this is a hardware device, which is up here. And this is from MGP. This is a LocoNet to Bluetooth adapter. So you plug it into your LocoNet connection, and now it has a Bluetooth connection. The flashing blue means it's not connected. The green light there or yellow light means it's there's power to it, but it's not connected. So the first thing you have to do is pair this. See here, local buffer. You can also see local buffer USB. Driver not available. But this guy I paired. So once you pair that one, then you can go back to device driver. Let's see. And device driver shows Bluetooth devices, COM port 3 and 4. One is a input, and then the other one is an output. One's for transmit and receive. So now what happens is if I open up TrainController, close these two guys. And I'm running Windows build 22621, release 220506-1250. TrainController, running the demo. Now it's going to try and connect to the hardware, checking the baud rate. So that's Clinchfield Model Railroad. I have 3 throttles open. I have the schedule. And now you can see down here, running and online. So there's an ECOS, ESU ECOS on the IP address. That's how that guy connects, is through an IP address. Let's see if I hover over that. 192.168.1.110. And Digitrax LocoNet COM port 4. COM port 4, that's what you saw before with the Bluetooth connection there. So those two lines are green. If I also check here, if I go to Railroad, set up connection, see it's telling me here, ESU, IP address, LocoNet, COM port 4. Okay. So now if the green light is on, so let's see if I can flip the turnout. There, it's connecting. See, things are turning on. You could see back here on this LocoNet to Bluetooth adapter, the blue light is doing a different kind of blink. So that means it's connected. Okay. Okay, so let's see if I flip the turnout. There it goes. And since I'm using the MP1 turnout decoders, if I flip it, it'll go. If it's already in the direction, set the direction, it won't flip. But if it's it needs to change, then it will flip. So now I could set my routes. Here I have some locomotives. I'm using in this area here, the yard. I'm using a DigiKai. Let me see, it's up here. Hidden there, DigiKai DR 5088 RC. So that's 16 block detectors, and then this one here is just a regular LocoNet DR 4088 LN. And then on the other side of the layout, I have also these blocks. There's a DR 5088 RC. So these 16 blocks on this section are Railcom aware. And then down here, I have a block detector, but it's connected to, let me see, there's a decoder here from MGP, and you can see a little few wires there that end up connecting to, where did I stash that? It's actually down in there. So that's the block detector for that can interface with the MGP products. So it'll give you a LocoNet address, but the thing is, it doesn't give you a feedback address like the DR 5088. And then the other thing I have is also the ECOS, some ECOS block detectors. So as you can see here, it's detecting a block and it's telling me it's locomotive 56. Here there's locomotive 2307. If I edit, there was a tricky way to get this thing working, because even though I have a local buffer over here, what is it, that guy there, that's LocoNet interface to the ECOS. So he reads the, gets the signals to update the ECOS. But what happens is that information does not get that. If you connect the blocks and you say that it's powered by, let me see, open this one, for example. Connection. I have to say it's LocoNet and then address 14. If I change that to this guy, to ECOS, open that ECOS block detector. See, LocoNet block 14. I think it's there. If I set it to ECOS, then I have to use the way the ECOS has is the old way of doing blocks 1 to 16. You have to say 1.1 to 1.16. Then after 17, you have to say 2.1 to 2.16, and then 3.1 and 3.16. So it starts to get a little bit confusing, the pattern that they use. But what's going to happen is I'm using the LocoNet way of doing things. And let me see if I do, because the problem is that it's not going to pick up trade identification. I have to go this way, which again, now it's 1.14, the older way of doing things, because if I use, let's say the ECOS 1.14, see it disappears. It doesn't give me the block address, so you can't get the information from the ECOS. The ECOS is telling you that the block is occupied, but it won't give you the DigiKai DR 5088 RC information, Railcom information. So I have to say 1.14, but by this guy, LocoNet Blucher GMB 168X. So then if I select that one, I'll get the block. the appropriate one. So that's how to connect the blocks from the DR5088. But I do have some block detectors like this one here. There's one over here, ESU block detector right there, ECOS detector RC, and then there's another one up here. Yeah. So each one of those does 4 blocks. And what's good about them, I see I have them here as, they're set up as decoders 5, and it has 4 blocks. So it's 5-1, -2, -3, -4, and then 6-1, -2, -3, -4. So if I go to, let's say I'll say this block here. Now I say ECOS, so train identification. That's going to give me the railcom information, because if you use their boxes connected to their system, then they'll show up on the ECOS screen, the railcom information. So in this case, it's address 6, input 4, block detector. Here I have to say ECOS detector also 6-4. I give the name 6-4. See if there's something else, connection. Yeah, so here I'm saying ECOS detector, whereas the other one I was saying LocoNet. Here I say ECOS detector, but I'm not using the addresses here because it doesn't give me to take 6-4. I have to go either here and put it in there, or else, and then for the train identification, I have to put it here. So what that's going to give me is, if I take it out of programming mode, out of edit mode. So now I'll just take this, drag this guy out of here. So 6-4. So now if I put a locomotive with railcom, let me find a locomotive here somewhere. This guy. Okay, I'll back this guy up into that block that's represented there. And now if you look at the ECOS, focus, it's telling me that block is occupied, 6403 is the address, and then the description for the locomotive. If I unoccupy, goes away. So now this information is updated here. The other blocks, as usual, they will work because it's giving information to the ECOS. So I moved the train into that block, and that I'm getting the red lines there saying that that block's occupied. And even if I go into, let's say, edit, then I'll tap that box. It'll tell me it's 1-1.14. That's, again, like I said before, the way they operate is they get 16 blocks. You can see how they operate things. Let me see. I think it's in this screen here. Track. That's a while I didn't get to that one. Setup. This screen over here. Yeah, see, so I have the ECOS detector 1, 2, sniffer, local buffer, LocoNet configuration. So now I say LocoNet, I think it's this one. Go, and that's the way they do it. See, 1, detector 1, and then 16 inputs, right to left. So now it's telling me which blocks are occupied, and then detector 2, 3, and 4. So now if I move that same locomotive out of the way, that's in block, block 14. See that little guy's going out. So whereas on the LocoNet new stuff, it would say, let's say this block that's down here, this first one, it would say 17. This guy would actually say 2-1, and that block is 3-1 and 4-1. So let me see if I find, I'll put the locomotive somewhere else. Yeah. See, it's that block, that black dot right there. So that would say, that would actually be 2-12, 2-12. And if I go out of here, and I see that track, that one's red. If I tap it, and I tap one of those boxes, there it's telling me, yeah, 2-12. Right, so there is a couple of hoops you have to jump through to be able to see the ECOS blocks over here. You have to use the ECOS system, and then use this thing called an ICE window. That's where it gives you this window, and it'll only display the ECOS Railcom addresses. You cannot add the DigiKai's DR5088. You can't display their Railcom addresses on this device. It'll just say that the block is occupied, because those blocks are, let's say, in here. See that there's a block there. See, I have a light there that tells me when that also. And that is for the yard. If I go here to the yard, no, that's not what I want. I want to go, whoop, that's edit. If I go, just show me the yard. So here's the yard. So that track is actually down here. If I move the locomotive again, we'll see it go out. See, unoccupied. So even though those tracks in the yard are Railcom aware with the DigiKai DR5088RC, even if I put an ICE window here, which is the window that shows the little square window, this window, it will not show. So the only way to show them is either have a different, either use something like TrainController. And then the other thing is I do have a piece of hardware. Let me see if it's around here somewhere. Yeah, this is an Arduino based interface. And let me plug that in. Is there a wire around here somewhere? Yeah, this is a control panel. I'm just going to take this wire out. LocoNet connection. Plug that into this device. Arduino base. So it tells me LocoNet Railcom monitor. And now if I move that locomotive, let's see, is it on the right track? Oh, my ECOS is turned off. You see, the ECOS power is off. Let me flip the power on. There it goes. Then this guy says decoder 2307, present in zone 28. That's the other locomotive. If this locomotive, I move it, now I got 1117 in zone 10. Absent, present. Locomotive 1117. Let's see if that focus. 1117, and this one is 56. So if I move him, there you go, 56, absent zone 3. So this is a LocoNet hardware. It's giving me it'll read the DigiKai DR5088RC Railcom addresses, which is pretty nice, but the ECOS will not. So then the other way is to get it to go through the Bluetooth, this Bluetooth interface, Bluetooth to USB, and he will talk to TrainController. Now that I'm running the demo here. My 10 minutes is up, so that'll close. So this is working now. Before, like I said, for a while I was not able, until now I was not able to get the TrainController to see the hardware, because no matter what you plugged in, Windows for ARM did not see the hardware. Go back here, device manager, device manager. Yeah, local buffer USB. Doesn't see it. And then even all unplug. Oh, let's see if that's focus. Local buffer USB. Doesn't work. I'll go up here to the Pi and I'll unplug that local buffer. I'll plug in my M5 stick. Let's see if I could get that one-handed. Not that way. Maybe this way. See, it turns on. And then down here, we get a message. M5 stack. See, so that piece of hardware doesn't recognize the driver. So the only one it's able to recognize, as I said before, is COM ports. Open it up, 3 and 4, which is Bluetooth. So that's how I got the TrainController version 10 demo running on the Raspberry Pi 4. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.